Are you ready for female leadership? This is a topic different experts, leaders are discussing, especially in the light of the developments due to COVID this past year. It is a topic also engaging a group of more than 25 collaborators who decide to write a book about it. Each of us contributed an essay on a variety of subjects around this topic.
Today I interview Bernice Feller-Thijm, inclusion strategist and team performance coach, about her essay for the book. So, can you give a short intro about yourself, Bernice?
Sure. Well, you already mentioned I work as a team performance coach and an inclusion strategist, which means I help organizations on the theme of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that means that I create sessions in which I make it possible for colleagues, leaders to discuss what it means. What is diversity for us? What is equity for us? How do we create inclusion within our organization? And I help them really give meaning to that. So not necessarily train them in that, but give meaning to that. Give meaning to the words.
Okay, so really give meaning to the words diversity, inclusion.
Yeah.
And what is the message that you want to bring through your essay in this book?
Yeah, that's a good one. My essay is about emotional intelligence. And for me, that is one of the main ingredients in my work. If it's even in just a normal team coach process, but also especially in an inclusion process, I think emotional intelligence, meaning knowing yourself better, knowing your own triggers, knowing why and how you respond to things happening, and being more aware of this, so you can maybe not go into your automatic pilot reaction. I think it's very useful.
Okay, so diversity and inclusion starts with knowing yourself and your own biases and triggers and reactions.
Yeah, yeah, very much so, because the life that we've lived created the experiences that we've had, created what skills we've learned, and therefore really shaped the lens, I always say, with which we look into the world. And through that lens, we see things and we react to things. And that reaction is very much based on our lived experience and how emotional we get in conversations, or how people approach you. It's very much connected to that lens. And I think if you really want to understand how you can create inclusion, how you can make sure that diversity really can flourish, you have to understand yourself better first. So when someone triggers you or something happens, then you can distinguish better if it's because of the person or it's because of you reacting to something. You know, if you and me are both having the same conversation with someone, it can very well happen that you have a different emotional reaction than I will have. And then if you then start, what often happens, we put that on the other person, we start blaming or saying, you can understand me. And then things get messy, just like that. And it can totally happen that you will have the same conversation, you will think, oh, it's totally fine. And I have the same conversation, I will think, oh, what a terrible person, you know? And it's about the same person.
I know, been there, seen it, done it, experienced it. Thanks. And how would you link this message, this great message, to female leadership, which is a topic of the book?
It's the topic of the book. And I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about that, because especially being in the DEI space, I work a lot with people who identify differently. So female leadership is often really focused on people in female bodies, to put it like that. And course, we know these days that it's a spectrum. People identify differently. They have different relationships with their bodies. So for me, I like to step away from the term female leadership and really focus on the masculine traits and the feminine traits. And of course, people who identify as men also have feminine traits. So I think we need to have more room in general in our workspaces, our life spaces, where we appreciate and also value the more feminine traits, which are traditionally more about the here and now, about the connection, about empathy, about the curiosity. And I think we need to focus more and make more room for those traits. And for me, that is the most important part. And I don't like to connect it to what kind of body you live.
No, I fully understand.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. And what would be, if you could give one advice to the audience that watching this video, what would that advice be?
Wow. Okay, just one.
Me too.
Well, basically, one of the things I like to say when I talk to people and in my sessions is that if you start realizing that your reality is not the reality, I think you're halfway there. If you really start to understand that people experience life differently and have different experiences, and you might look at the same thing but see things differently, and then you're curious as well and you want to learn about those different perspectives and how people view things differently, and I think that would be my biggest advice. Don't expect that how you live your life is the same way how other people experience life as well, and be curious about the differences.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to know more about the lessons of creating a path for female leadership, stay tuned for more interviews with the authors of this book. Remember to save the date, November 17, for the launch party. You can pre-order a copy of the book at readyforfemaleleadership.com. Please support this project by liking, sharing, and commenting. See you soon.